Welcome to my channel. Subscribe and enjoy daily stories about cheating, revenge, and relationship advice. The city buzzed around me as I entered the lobby of our apartment building. It had been a long week away on business, and the thought of surprising Emily with an early return filled me with a rare sense of excitement. I could already picture her reaction, a mix of surprise and joy that would make the long hours away worth it. The elevator ride seemed longer than usual, my anticipation building with each floor it climbed. When the doors finally opened on our floor, I practically sprinted down the hallway to our door. I fumbled with the keys, my fingers clumsy with eagerness. As soon as I unlocked the door and pushed it open, a wave of unfamiliarity hit me. The apartment, usually a sanctuary of calm and order, seemed oddly off-kilter. The scent of cigarette smoke was the first thing that struck me. I frowned, taken aback. Emily didn't smoke, and I hadn't noticed any signs of visitors in our place for weeks. "Emily?" I called out, trying to keep my voice casual despite the tightening knot in my stomach. "Are you home?" No answer. The silence felt heavy as I stepped inside, my footsteps echoing in the quiet space. I set down my briefcase and walked into the living room, my eyes scanning for anything out of place. The coffee table was cluttered with an abandoned mug, half full of what looked like cold coffee. It was unusual for Emily to leave her things like this. I moved to the kitchen, where I noticed a pack of cigarettes next to an open bottle of wine. My heart raced with a mix of confusion and suspicion. Just then, the apartment's intercom buzzed, startling me. I glanced at the display. It was our neighbor, Mrs. Thompson. "Hello," I answered, trying to keep my voice steady. "Hi, Alex," Mrs. Thompson's voice crackled through the speaker. "I saw some unfamiliar faces coming in and out of your apartment this week. I hope everything's all right." My mind reeled. "Unfamiliar faces?" "Yes," Mrs. Thompson said. "A couple of young men. They didn't stay long, but they seemed quite in a hurry." "Thank you for letting me know," I said, trying to mask the growing unease in my voice. I ended the call and turned back into the apartment, my thoughts a whirl of uncertainty. I moved through the apartment, each step more deliberate. The hallway closet door was slightly ajar, and I noticed an extra coat hanging there, definitely not Emily's. The knot in my stomach tightened. I heard a noise from the bedroom and froze. I walked towards the sound, my heart pounding. I gently pushed open the bedroom door, half expecting to find someone there. Instead, I saw Emily's side of the bed neatly made, but with a hint of disarray, her nightstand cluttered with papers and a book that wasn't usually there. I turned back towards the living room, frustration and worry mounting. The apartment felt increasingly alien, filled with signs that someone else had been here. I heard the soft click of the front door opening, and my pulse quickened. I dashed to the living room just in time to see Emily walking in, her face brightening at the sight of me. "Alex," she exclaimed, rushing over and pulling me into an embrace. "You're back early. I wasn't expecting you until tonight." I pulled back, searching her eyes for any sign of the truth. "Emily, what's going on?" I noticed some things that don't add up. Her expression shifted from surprise to confusion. "What do you mean? What did you see?" I hesitated, then pointed to the pack of cigarettes and the coffee mug. "I saw this. And Mrs. Thompson mentioned seeing strangers coming and going from our apartment." Emily's eyes widened with a mix of alarm and hurt. "Alex, I can explain. I was working on a surprise for you, and I hired someone to help me. I didn't think it would look suspicious, but I should have told you." "Who were these people?" I asked, my voice betraying my concern. Emily took a deep breath, her face a portrait of sincerity. "It was for a photography project. I wanted to arrange something special for our anniversary, and Mark, the photographer, was just helping me with the details. I didn't want to ruin the surprise by telling you too early." I studied her face, trying to reconcile the evidence with her explanation. The initial wave of suspicion began to ebb, replaced by a dawning realization of my own jump to conclusions. "Emily, I'm sorry. I should have trusted you more. Her shoulders relaxed, and she gave a small, relieved smile. It's okay. I understand why you'd be worried. I promise to be more open in the future. As we stood there, the tension began to melt away. My surprise had been marred by a misunderstanding, but the warmth of her presence reminded me of why I had returned home early in the first place. The restaurant's warm ambience was a stark contrast to the storm brewing inside me. I had been pacing outside, trying to steady my nerves before walking in. Emily had mentioned meeting a colleague here, and I had anticipated a cozy dinner, just the two of us. Instead, what I was about to face would shatter the calm evening I had envisioned. As I entered the restaurant, the soft hum of conversation and the clinking of cutlery created a comforting backdrop, but I couldn't shake the anxiety gnawing at me. I scanned the room, searching for Emily's familiar silhouette. My eyes fell on her almost immediately, seated at a corner table, her face lit up with animated expression. But then I saw him. A man sat across from her, his hand resting casually over hers. Laughter escaped Emily's lips, and the sight of their seemingly intimate interaction twisted a knife in my chest. I swallowed hard, my heart pounding as I walked towards them. "Emily," I said, my voice trembling with barely restrained emotion. "We need to talk." Emily's head snapped up, her eyes widening in shock. "Alex? What are you doing here?" Before she could respond, I turned to the man beside her. "And you? Who are you?" The man stood up, his face a mix of confusion and concern. "I'm sorry, I didn't realize." "Alex, wait," Emily interjected, standing up as well. "This isn't what it looks like." I couldn't contain my frustration. "Then what is it?" "Because from where I'm standing, it looks like you're having dinner with someone who's not me." The man took a hesitant step back, his eyes darting between us. "I assure you, I wasn't aware of her being married. She approached me for a photography project. I'm just here to help with that." Emily's face flushed with embarrassment and worry. "Alex, please. Let me explain." "Explain," I said, my voice rising. "I came home early to surprise you, and I walk into our apartment to find signs of someone else. Then I come here and see you with another man. It's hard not to jump to conclusions." Emily's eyes filled with tears as she reached for my hand. "I understand how this looks, but you have to believe me. Mark is a photographer I hired for a surprise. I didn't want you to know because I wanted it to be a special anniversary gift." I looked at Mark, who nodded in agreement. "I didn't know she was married," he said, his tone sincere. "She asked me to help with a photo shoot, and I agreed. I wasn't aware of her personal life details." Emily took a deep breath, her voice steadying. "Alex, I've been planning this photography project to celebrate our anniversary. I wanted to keep it a secret to make it a special moment for you. I should have been more transparent about it." I took a step back, trying to process the whirlwind of emotions. The anger and betrayal I felt began to wane, replaced by a sense of confusion and regret. "I'm sorry," I said, my voice softening. "I jumped to conclusions without knowing the whole story." Emily's face relaxed with relief. "I know. I should have communicated better. I didn't mean to hurt you or cause any doubts." Mark, sensing the tension easing, spoke up. "If you'd like, I can leave now. I didn't mean to intrude on anything." "No, please stay," Emily said, her gaze turning back to me. "Mark, thank you for your understanding. Alex, I really wanted to make this special for you." As Mark sat back down, I turned to Emily, my heart heavy with both regret and understanding. "I appreciate the gesture, but I wish I'd trusted you more. I should have asked questions before letting my mind run wild." Emily took my hand in hers, her touch warm and reassuring. "We'll work through this, Alex. I promise to be more open with you. I just wanted to make sure you had a memorable anniversary." Mark gave us a respectful nod and, after a brief exchange of polite words, left us alone. Emily and I sat in the quiet aftermath, the restaurant's ambience now a soothing backdrop to our renewed conversation. It wasn't the evening I had imagined, but it was one that would mark a turning point in our relationship. The tension in the restaurant was palpable as Emily and I sat at a small, secluded table near the back. The dim lighting and soft background music did little to ease the unease that had settled between us. Mark had left, giving us the privacy to sort through the confusion and emotions that had surfaced. Emily took a deep breath, her fingers nervously twisting the edge of her napkin. "Alex, I really want to explain everything. I know it looked bad, but it was all part of a plan." I nodded, trying to calm the storm inside me. "Okay, I'm listening." Emily looked up, her eyes filled with a mixture of regret and determination. "The whole thing started a few months ago when I wanted to plan something special for our anniversary. I know we've both been busy, and I wanted to do something memorable. Mark is a photographer I found through a friend, and I hired him to help with a surprise photo session." I leaned forward, trying to absorb her words. "But why didn't you tell me? I found cigarette butts in our apartment, and I saw a strange coat hanging in the closet. It didn't make sense." Emily's face flushed with a deep crimson. "I didn't want to spoil the surprise. I should have thought it through better. Mark was only in our apartment briefly to discuss the details and take some initial shots. I should have communicated with you about what was going on, but I didn't want to give anything away." I sighed, rubbing my temples. "It's just that seeing those signs and then coming here, it all seemed so wrong." Emily's voice softened, her eyes pleading. "I understand, Alex. I should have been clearer. The cigarettes and the coat were from Mark's assistant, who helped with some of the setup. I didn't think it would look suspicious, but I see now how it did. It wasn't my intention to create any doubt." I ran a hand through my hair, trying to reconcile the picture she was painting with what I had seen. "So, this whole thing was just a surprise?" "Yes," Emily said, nodding vigorously. "I wanted to make sure we had a special celebration. I didn't expect it to cause such a misunderstanding." I looked down at the table, feeling the weight of my earlier accusations and my own suspicions. "I'm sorry, Emily. I let my imagination get the better of me. I should have trusted you and asked questions before jumping to conclusions." Emily reached across the table, placing her hand over mine. "I appreciate that, Alex. And I'm sorry for not being more transparent. I should have found a better way to keep the surprise without creating confusion." A moment of silence hung between us, filled with the soft clinking of dishes and murmured conversations around us. The intensity of the situation began to ease, replaced by a shared understanding and a sense of relief. "Is there any way we can salvage this evening?" I asked, my voice gentle. I didn't mean to turn it into a confrontation. "I really did come here to celebrate with you." Emily smiled, a mix of relief and affection in her eyes. "Of course. I'd like that. Let's enjoy the rest of the night and focus on the anniversary I was trying to make special." I smiled back, feeling a renewed sense of connection. "I'd like that too. Let's make the most of it." We settled back into our seats, the tension dissolving as we began to talk more freely. The restaurant's ambience, which had once seemed so foreign and uncomfortable, now felt like a fitting backdrop for us to reconnect. Emily's earlier surprise might have been overshadowed by the drama, but as we talked and laughed over dinner, it became clear that the real gift was the chance to reaffirm our trust and commitment to each other. As we left the restaurant, the crisp night air felt refreshing, a welcome change from the tense atmosphere inside. Emily and I walked side by side, the streetlights casting a soft glow on the pavement. The evening had been far from what I'd envisioned, but there was a new understanding between us, one that I hoped would guide us moving forward. The drive home was quiet, filled with the hum of the engine and the occasional glance exchanged between us. I could see the mix of relief and uncertainty in Emily's eyes, reflecting my own emotions. The surprises of the evening had given way to a more pressing task, rebuilding the trust that had been momentarily shaken. When we arrived at our apartment, I took a deep breath before opening the door. Inside, the familiar warmth of our home was a comforting contrast to the emotional roller coaster of the past few hours. Emily followed me inside, her steps hesitant but hopeful. "Do you want to talk more about tonight?" Emily asked softly, closing the door behind us. I turned to her, my expression earnest. I think we've said a lot already. I just want us to focus on moving forward. I realize tonight that I need to trust you more and not let my fears dictate my actions. Emily nodded, her eyes meeting mine with a mixture of relief and determination. I want to rebuild that trust, too. I understand why you were concerned, but I also want you to know that I'm committed to being more open with you. I never wanted to hurt you. I reached out and took her hands in mine. I appreciate that, Emily. I should have asked you about what I saw instead of jumping to conclusions. It's a lesson for me to be more patient and to communicate better. Emily smiled, squeezing my hands gently. And I'll work on being more transparent. I want us to be able to talk openly about things, even when they're difficult. Our relationship means too much to me to let misunderstandings get in the way. We moved to the couch and sat down, the tension of the day giving way to a quieter, more reflective moment. I took a deep breath, trying to put the events of the evening into perspective. You know, I said, breaking the silence, this whole situation, while painful, has made me realize how much I value our relationship. I'm committed to making sure we have a stronger foundation moving forward. Emily's eyes softened with gratitude. I feel the same way. I'm glad we could talk things through and clear up the misunderstanding. I want us to be able to handle any challenges that come our way together. There was a comforting silence as we sat together, our hands intertwined. The emotional storm of the evening had passed, leaving behind a renewed sense of closeness and commitment. A few moments later, Emily spoke up with a gentle smile. How about we plan a special evening together soon, just for us? We can make it a celebration of our anniversary, without any surprises this time. I chuckled softly, nodding in agreement. I'd like that. Let's plan something that we both can enjoy and appreciate. No more surprises, just us. Emily leaned in, resting her head on my shoulder. That sounds perfect. I'm looking forward to it. We spent the rest of the evening talking about our plans, our laughter and shared stories replacing the earlier tension. It was a reminder of why we had chosen to be together and why we wanted to continue building our life as a couple. As we prepared for bed, I looked at Emily, feeling a renewed sense of connection and understanding. The challenges of the evening had tested us, but they had also reinforced our commitment to each other. We were ready to face the future together, with trust and communication as our guiding principles.